If you're from Oklahoma and you've shot a coyote at night, I want you to like this video. For every coyote that you've killed at night, you have to buy that many silencers from me. Guys, I'm Mark Bays, I'm the owner of Bays Firearm Resource, and today we're going to be talking about ARs, we're going to be talking about gun control just a little bit, and we're going to be talking about plate carriers, armor, all that stuff. Now, it's no mystery that there are certain people who don't like these guns. They think they are scary because they're black, racist, and also they don't like them because they think that you are not responsible enough and you don't have the right to be able to have something like this that you can use to protect your life, your family's life, your property, and defend your rights against a tyrannical government. Really quickly before we go any further, you may be wondering where I am. Well, I'm at Snake Creek Shooting Range at their 360-degree tactical shooting bay. And so having a good time out here doing some shooting. Actually, I was doing some shooting earlier out to 200 yards, zeroing in this rifle. But I've come over here to demonstrate a few things to you about shooting an AR-15, and also it's just a really cool place to talk. Back to the rest of the video. So, you may be, like a lot of other Americans, concerned about some of the laws that are trying to be passed to limit your rights to access tools, and this is a tool no different than any other tool that you can use to protect your family, your loved ones, your property, your liberty. Now, you may be thinking, I've got to go out and buy a ton of ARs. Now, I'm not saying not to go out and buy ARs. You should own an AR if you don't have one already. But what I'm willing to bet is that a lot of you do. Probably a lot of you are coyote hunters, because that's most of what I do, hog hunting as well. So a lot of you guys are hog hunters, coyote hunters, and you don't use your AR for necessarily home defense or tactical shooting. You use it for hunting. And you may be thinking, well, I need to have an AR. So you're looking online and you're seeing guys running these 11.5-inch barrels. I may be guilty of that. It was so fast! The mag is smoking it. And they're running red dots on their guns, and you may think, I gotta have an AR like that. Well, the fact of the matter is you don't. More than likely, if you have an AR that is set up with a rifle scope, this is a Vortex 2.5 to 10, nothing special, not super expensive. If you have an AR similar to this that you use for hunting, that's 16 inches long, maybe a little bit longer, doesn't really matter, but it has a scope on it, this is going to be more than what you could ever probably need in most circumstances. As a matter of fact, it might actually be better than that short barrel red dot that all the cool guys are using. So I want to demonstrate that to you today, that using more of a hunting style AR, and honestly, if you take off the light and the mount for my skeeter, you know, you can leave the suppressor on because suppressors are great for hunting. I mean, this is pretty much just a hunting rig. So I want to show you that you can absolutely use this both at longer distances, of course, out to 200, 300, 400 yards. Or you can even use it up close, and in the case of this, I'm going to be probably about, I don't know, 15 yards away, showing that you can actually move pretty quickly. So if I have my scope not set on 10 power, but set on about 2.5 power, I can make some pretty quick transitions from one target to the next. And so we'll talk about that just a little bit. Now, the other side of this, though, is they're also trying to do things like ban body armor. Some of the worthless pieces of you-know-what who did these terrible acts of evil, some of them use body armor. So now all of a sudden the politicians want to ban body armor, say that you shouldn't be able to own it, even though it's inherently a defensive tool. So we're also going to talk about body armor today. So since we're going to talk about using hunting style ARs and body armor and things of this nature, I probably should have some on. So let's go ahead and put that on. Alright, so now that I've got my body armor on, let's talk about it a little bit. First of all, you may be thinking, why in the world do you have body armor and a plate carrier? That is just a little bit too much. Well, I think before we talk about having a plate carrier and having body armor and, why do I have one? It's not like I'm a military guy or a policeman or whatever. No, you're right. I'm not military, I'm not law enforcement, but you know what I am? I'm an American citizen. And in America, we have something called the Constitution. And the Second Amendment of that Constitution states that we have a right to keep and bear arms. And the point of the Second Amendment is not so you can own a Remington 700 for hunting deer, like some politicians like to claim. No, the Second Amendment was written so that the militia, which is made up of the citizens of the country, the people, we are able to defend ourselves from the tyrannies of the government. And as a result, the Second Amendment was written to where an average person could own the same rifle, the same military equipment that a soldier had. Believe it or not, you were actually able to own a cannon as a citizen in America. There were ships who requested the ability to have a cannon. They actually asked if that was covered under the Second Amendment, and absolutely it's covered. So they were able to have cannons on privately owned ships. We carry that into the 21st century. What does that look like? Well, number one, it means that we're able to carry rifles that are effective, that are modern technology that we can use to protect ourselves, but also we can use equipment that is used defensively. So think about it. Do we really want the military, the government, being the only ones that are able to have AR-15s, semi-automatic or fully automatic? I think you should be able to own whatever. But also, do we want them to be able to have body armor as well, but not American citizens? So don't think that it's okay to own an AR, but it's not okay to own body armor. You absolutely have every right to do so. And if I'm going to be engaging against a hostile threat that's threatening the lives of my family, my property, my beliefs, my religious beliefs, my convictions about the world, then I should be able to use whatever tools that are at my disposal to be able to do so. So I've got a plate carrier on. These are special threat plates. They're rated to stop most AR-15, most AK style rounds. And it's pretty simple. I don't have anything on the front right now, but it can carry an extra mag, and I can carry a radio if I want to, if I've got other people to communicate with. But what I want to talk about though is using the AR-15 that you have, just the one that you've got, even with a scope on it, just set up for hunting, with a plate carrier. Now normally if I'm going to shoot, I really like to get it dug in and get it really in that pocket so I can get a really stable rest on that gun. But what you may find though is if you get a plate carrier, especially if you have plates that don't have as sharp of a cut, these kind of have a little bit more of a shooter's type cut. So I've got some room to work with here. But even still with these, what I'm finding is my stock is butting right up against my plate carrier, and it's just not quite as centered in my pocket as what I would like it to be. So don't be afraid to go out and shoot with your gear on, like with a plate carrier. If you want to protect your family, once again, like I said, I'm not military, I'm not police, but I'm a father and I'm a husband, and I have a God-given responsibility to be the protector of my family. My wife and my child are counting on me. There are people in my community, there are people in my church who count on me to be able to watch over them and care for them. And so a part of watching over them and caring for them is being able to protect them physically. And there's tools that are needed in order to do that. So if you're going to go out and you're going to practice with your AR to be able to protect others, then put on your gear, at least sometimes. Get a feel for what it's like, because if I'm going to shoot and I'm used to always being able to shoot without my carrier on, and I'm able to really get that gun in tight like I want it, then it's going to feel completely different whenever I put my plate carrier on and I go to shoot. So as a result, I've got to practice with that. I've got to train with it. I need to do dry fire with it. There's times that my wife may laugh at me sometimes, but she knows it's important, where I'll be in the house and pointed in a safe direction, and I've got my carrier on, and I'm getting dry fire reps. I'm coming up, getting on target, coming up, getting on target, coming from different positions, coming up, getting on target, low, coming on target. All of that to get a feel for the carrier to where I can shoot the best that I can. And also, you look really cool doing it. And I bet there's some of you who have hunting buddies that you probably would feel a lot safer if you had body armor. Tag them in the comment section. All right, so here's what we're gonna do. I've got this scope on 2.5 power. I'm about, let's say roughly 15 yards away from these targets. Now, you may think that you can't shoot up close and be quick with an AR-15 and a rifle scope. Well, if that scope's a 7 to 50, then yeah, probably not. But if you have a nice lower range scope, like a 3 to 10, even a Leupold VX1 3 to 10 is gonna be great. Just find something that's in that lower range. This is a 2.5 to 10, and it's a second focal plane, which I'm not gonna go into right now, but at least it gives me nice, good, clear crosshairs. Well, let's see how quickly. I'm gonna turn my timer on, and we'll see just how quickly I can shoot with a rifle scope at a close range, like only 15 yards. So let me increase my volume. It's good. All right, so we're ready to go. When the timer goes off, I have not even shot up close like this to get any warm up. So you're just gonna watch a dry run today. Or a cold run, I guess. But when the timer goes off, I'm gonna spin around. I'm gonna put 2 on this one, 4 on that one, 2 on this one. We'll see how quickly I can get that done, all right? But first, I need to get my ear protection because ear protection is important. So let's put that on. All right, so now that I've got my ear pro on, what we're gonna do is we're gonna run through this and we're gonna see just how good I do, okay? Once again, I've gotta work with this plate carrier, so I'm not gonna be able to get it right where I want it, so I'm gonna have to use my arms a little bit more to really control it. So here we go. All right, so that was not the best run at all, but what you can see is I still managed to do that, and I wasn't just too terribly slow. Now, one of the things you got to do is whenever you're shooting, let your eyes lead and your gun follow. So if I'm going to shoot, I shoot my 2, my eyes go to the target, and my gun follows with me. All right, so there's one example. Let's just do it again. See if I can do any better than that. So my suppressor's so quiet that my timer can't detect it. Another reason to get a suppressor. But I think what you're seeing here is that you don't have to go out and buy a whole other AR, deck it out with a red dot. I mean, this one doesn't have the super cool offset red dot, so I'm not shooting it like this. I'm shooting it with the scope at 2.5 power. And I'm using a just a simple plate carrier. And once again, I'm really having to make sure I'm using my arms more, digging it in, so I can control it because I can't quite get it as centered as what I would like to. So I hope this video maybe gives you some things to think about. Instead of buying another gun, maybe you just need to buy some more ammo and so you can practice and you can train. Most importantly though, buy a silencer. But most importantly, be prepared to be a protector, to protect your family, your loved ones, your beliefs, okay? I don't know what the future has in store. I don't know if guns are going to get hard to find again. I don't know if ammo is going to get hard to find again. But today is the day to start getting ready for whatever may come. So if you want to be a provider for your family, you want to be a protector, you want to care for others, then make sure that you're preparing today. If you have plenty of ammo, that's great, but are you dry firing? Are you working on actually getting good reps without shooting any ammunition, working on your grip? Maybe if it's a pistol, you're working on your draw, or it's a rifle, you're working on your presentation and you're transitioning from one thing to another. I'm a hunter first. My favorite thing in the world to do is coyote hunt. Hog hunting's cool too, but I love to coyote hunt. But at the end of the day, I also have to spend some time training in ways that I can protect and provide and care for my family. So don't forget your calling. Go to basefarmresource.com, buy a suppressor, and keep shooting those coyotes. Thanks for watching.